Hi, everybody. I'm Eleanor. Welcome to our Facebook Live. So today we're excited to be joined again by Chef Meg Raines right here. Oh, I can never get the size right on this. But she's going to be telling us more about making salads, all about SugarBee apples and how to incorporate those into your salads. If you don't know her from our previous Facebook Live, she is a photographer, recipe developer, and just an overall amazing person to have on these Facebook Live. She's so awesome to hear from, and she tells us all these great tips. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Gosh, thanks, Eleanor. That's a lovely intro. It's wonderful to be back. And hi there, moms. So fun. I'm sure we're all doing really well. And you guys had some snow somewhere along the line up there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be showing us today?
Yes. So we're going to talk about salads because, first of all, I don't know about you, but I really don't like light or cold things in the winter, especially. But we're going to have a couple different examples, or not examples, and we're going to talk about them. But the actual recipes are up on the SugarBee Apple website. And then we're going to talk about why I love to add apples to salads. There's a whole bunch of different things, but we're featuring the SugarBee apple, which is my personal favorite today. And it's delicious, and we'll talk more about that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Before we jump into that, I do want to share a little bit about Mom's Meet just for anyone who's new joining us. So, Mom's Meet is a really awesome community of parents, grandparents, moms, dads, caretakers, etc., who are passionate about healthy living. You can head over to momsmeet.com to learn more and join for free. You can get free products, all that stuff. It's a really, really fun community. So, we definitely want you to join. As we were saying earlier, this event is brought to you by SugarBee Apples. So as usual, we're giving away some great prizes. They're going to be giving 3 lucky winners a SugarBee Apple prize pack. So you definitely want to make sure you're commenting, liking, and sharing this video for your chance to win. So I'm a really big fan of salads. I love arugula. I love Caesar salads. I like putting things like pumpkin seeds on my salads. What about you? What are some of your favorite salad options?
Oh gosh, I have them right here so I could look. I keep these are chia seeds. I keep
Yum.
all kinds of things in my refrigerator in jars, roasted nuts. So, and I cut my vegetables. So what I love to do is when I'm busy, especially at lunch, you just take everything out, dump, 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 put some dressing on it, and you are done.
Wow, that's great. You keep it in the fridge, you said?
I do.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think I know, I've heard nuts you keep in the fridge because they don't go bad as quickly. Is that right?
Yeah, because they don't go rancid. They have a lot of oils in them, and I roast my nuts first because by far they're much better that way. And then you just put them in a jar, and don't throw out your glass jars because you can just use them. Just shove all kinds of things in there and put them in your fridge, and you can have a salad in 10 minutes.
Wow, that's a real pro tip right there. I love that. So I know apples are one of the big things we want to talk about today, and they're
Mhm.
really great for snacks, but I personally don't always think about adding them to salads. I feel like, it's one of those things that I'd rather just like grab on a snack on it, but I know that they can add so much flavor and so
Mhm.
much like crunch to a salad. So I think it's really, really exciting that we're talking about this. So what makes SugarBee apple specifically such a great addition to like things like salads?
Oh gosh. Well, first, so here's the sugar bee. Well, there we go. Okay, so you want to look for this little bee right here. And there's a super interesting story about sugar bee, is that this is a new variety, and it was created by Mother Nature, and it was created by this little bee who went from tree to tree and created a new variety. So we know that the mom is a Honeycrisp, but we don't know who the dad is, so it's a mystery. But it created this fantastic apple, which I love. It's so crisp, it's so juicy, and it's super sweet. And it makes a salad just really, really pop.
Wow, yum. And for people who want to learn more about SugarBee apples, you can go to sugarbeeapple.com, little link
Mhm.
below. So now it's time to just kind of jump right into all things salads,
Oh,
dressings,
God.
apples,
Yeah.
etc.
Great. All right. So we talked about the sugar bee. And so another thing is, if you were in our last uh, live event, we know that every apple has sort of a flavor profile. And so this one has a little bit of hints of honey, caramel, molasses, and almond. So it's a really lovely flavor and has kind of like a yellowish flesh inside, but I love it. It's just my absolute favorite. And because I did like Honeycrisp, and then this combination is just delicious. So let's talk about salads, right? So first you want to add texture And again, we're talking about contrast, right? So we want to have lots of different things going on in order for it to be satisfying and in order for it to be interesting. You can do a side salad, which is fine, but a lot of people eat salads for meals, like breakfast. Well, you could have it for breakfast. You can have like a big salad for lunch, or maybe something for dinner if you're in a hurry. So when we're talking adding texture, apples is a perfect thing to add because you have a crispness, you have a fresh feeling. It brings a fresh feeling to the salad, and you have crunchiness, not to mention nutrition, because you're getting a serving of fruit. So a lot of people don't think about adding it, and some people add blueberries and different things, but apples are hearty, and they really offer a nice toothsome feel to it. And you want to think about other crunchy vegetables too, because there's something satisfying about a crunch. So you want to talk about celery, you want to talk about cucumbers, bell peppers, that kind of thing. And then the other thing is you want warmish flavors, like I said before, toasted nuts. So if you go to Costco, if anybody has Costco around them, I get the big bags of nuts. I toast the whole thing and I put them in the fridge, and then you use them for everything, right? And then herbs. Herbs are fabulous to add to salads because they do add a pop of freshness as well. So you want to talk about like mint. Mint is an amazing thing, and mint goes really nicely with apples too. And you want to think about like herby. Maybe you want to put in some basil. Basil's an amazing thing, and that's especially for summer too, when you can have some basil in your garden. It goes really nicely with blueberries and apples, and basil is a nice combination. The other thing you want to do if you're making this meal, of course, we all know you add protein. Protein really helps you feel full, and a little bit of fat, and that's what some of the dressing does too. So that's kind of what sustains you to the next meal. And of course, you can put chicken or salmon or tofu, or hold on one second. There we go. Or beans if you are vegetarian or vegan. And also, I just want to say, I want to encourage everybody to make your own dressing. And I know some people are saying, oh, Lord, I have 3 kids and 2 dogs. How am I going to make my own dressing? I make everything in huge batches, and give yourself a little bit of a break. But they just taste so much better. So I have a couple of tips for you because, again, you go to Costco or Safeway, I get the big bag of lemon juice. I use all of it at once. And lemon juice is amazing for all kinds of dishes, especially salads. When you're making your really simple olive oil, lemon juice, a little brown mustard, it's the best. It brightens up all flavors. So do that trick and you're good to go. Also, I do have in one of the recipes that we're going to talk about on the SugarBeeApple.com site is a citrus poppy seed dressing with yogurt. And yeah, it's delicious. And so oranges make a fabulous poppy seed dressing, and I put yogurt in it because you have less fat when you have yogurt, obviously, than mayonnaise, but it has a nice zing to it, and it has more of like a body to it, so you feel like you're making a nutritious salad but still filling. Okay, so also, we want to talk about warm salads. This is one of my favorite things to do in the winter, is making a warm salad. And anything's a salad if you just kind of put it together and toss it. Some kind of dressing, right? That's what a salad is. So, right. So if you can make roasted vegetables, and by the way, roasting sugar beets is amazing. So if you roast it, oh my gosh, they caramelize so wonderfully. So if you throw this on a sheet pan with, like, say, Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes and all kinds of things, and then when it's done, you roast them up, and you can toss them with a lovely balsamic vinaigrette or something, or even a balsamic glaze. And I consider that a salad. You throw some nuts on top of it. It's delicious and it's warm. But the other way to do really nice hearty salad, especially with apples, is a grain salad. So you have a quinoa or some farro or whatever you like to eat. Or you have also, you want to think in bulk. If you're making quinoa, you make a lot of quinoa and you put it in the freezer. Let's help ourselves out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I'm always, there's only 2 of us in the house at this point. But you wouldn't even believe the size of my freezer. I have a lot of stuff in there. But I can throw a meal together in 2 seconds. So So plan ahead. So quinoa, farro, or barley is perfect. And I love adding apples to it because it's like, again, we talk about that crispness and that freshness it adds. So we have warm, lovely warm flavors and different kind of things, and then you have that really fresh Christmas. And again, you want to have a satisfaction after eating salad. There's nothing worse than just lettuce. And, yeah. And so, yeah, none of that. And I also want to talk about texture. I have a couple of different cuts here. So when you talk about apples, there's different ways to cut them. And we have some examples again on the website. But one of the recipes, let me turn to my recipe page here. One of the recipes, the SugarBee Superfood Crunch Salad. So this is a really hearty salad, and it has kale in it. And so a lot of times if you, thank you, yes. So a lot of times if you, that is, yeah, that's okay. That's julienne, but you can also, it's julienne. So these slices like this, is a different kind of texture. And then you can do a slice, obviously a really thin slice, and then you can do chunks. So we have 3 different recipes, but it makes a difference on your eating experience. So if you have a salad full of kale and different things, then you want a good big bite, and you want that sweetness along with the bitterness of the kale. It really works. So if you have little pieces, it wouldn't really give you the same kind of experience. So the crunch salad has all kinds of great things in it, including celery and the pomegranates, which I love, little bursts of sweetness. And again, that's a fruit too. So that's a really nice way to make a salad pop. So the other one, and that one, by the way, has a honey Dijon dressing.
Yum.
Super easy. No, it's so nice. It's super easy to make. And you just do a double, triple batch, and you throw that in the refrigerator, and you have a dressing for the week. So that works out. The next one that we have on the website is our SugarBee chicken salad. And so this is a little bit, that one. So, oh gosh, that looks so good, doesn't it? Nice and crunchy. So that is poached chicken or baked, or however you like to cook your chicken. And again, let's plan ahead and make a couple at the same time, put them in the freezer. So we have the combination in that salad of crisp, fresh apples, SugarBee apples, and celery, and some nice big chunks of chicken. And we have some onions to give it a little bit of zing, and then toasted pecans. And that is the orange poppy seed yogurt dressing that pulls all that together. So it's a little bit lighter than the traditional Waldorf?
Yeah.
Waldorf salad. And it's like the southern chicken salad without the mayonnaise. So it kind of lightens everything up, but it's a meal. And you can put that over salad, or over a lettuce, or you can just eat it in a pita pocket, or however you like your salads. But
or out of your Tupperware container at midnight over the sink.
Right. And then the other, and this one you guys don't have, but I saw it on the website in Chelan Fresh, is marinated quinoa salad with pickled SugarBee apples. And I thought that was super pickled. Yeah. I thought, I have quick pickled onions before, which is really nice. But I thought that was a super interesting way to get like a sweet and sour flavor, adding to your warm quinoa dressing. And let me see if I have another example there. So we talked about, going back to the chicken salad, we talked about chunks, which is kind of hard to see, but I cut these in little chunks. So when you're cutting things, you want to really think about, again, your eating experience, but also you don't want teeny little bits when you have other chunks. You want everything to kind of be the same size. So when you're eating things, you don't have lots of little bits. Everything kind of be cut along the same lines.
Okay.
In the same lines, yeah. Okay. So is there any questions at this point?
Let's see here. I see not really a big fan of dragon fruit. What can you use to replace dragon fruit with? Oh, that's an interesting one. I guess apples is one, but
apples. Yeah, I know. You know what? Dragon fruit. I've had dragon fruit, but I don't remember the flavor. But I'm wondering if like kiwi, maybe?
Oh, kiwi.
Right, because kiwi and apple go really nice together in terms of conflicting texture, right?
Hmm.
Because you have a little bit of a soft and a bitter and a little bit of a crisp and a sweet. But dragon fruit, I feel like is a little bit firm. Yeah, I would say probably apple.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about apples. Apples and kiwis, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I actually have a quick question too that I was just thinking of. I don't really do like quick pickling. I've done long-term pickling,
Mhm.
dilly beans and pickles and stuff. So a
Mhm.
quick pickle, what kind of goes into that? So when you're doing an apple, is it like a lot of sugar or?
It's usually always vinegar when you're quick pickling, right?
Mhm.
Because you're not having any kind of fermentation happening. You're just, the vinegar is going to break it down a little bit. So mostly a quick pickle when you have, uh, even when you're doing onions, it's some kind of acid. So it could be like a lime juice. If you take red onions and you want to really soak it in lime juice, you can
Mhm.
let it sit just while you're cooking. And so the same thing with apples is either some sort of vinegar or lime to kind of break it down and it absorbs into it, probably a little bit of salt. So you're really creating some contrasting flavors there. But the vinegar always kind of changes the texture a little bit. And you
Okay.
obviously don't want that to sit for too long unless you're
Mhm.
really canning it. But it's one of those things where you let it sit while you're cooking.
Mhm.
It works out
Okay.
really well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. I know I saw a question earlier. What would you suggest in terms of like how long nuts are good for in the fridge or like quinoa in the freezer? Like how long
Mhm.
do you think these kinds of things can stay good?
Oh, sure. So first, let's talk about grains. Now, grains, they go bad quickly. Uh,
Okay.
so you really want to keep them for, because they do have an enzyme in them that causes them to ferment. So
Oh.
yeah, well, I mean, in the refrigerator, they're good for a couple days, but rice
Mhm.
and quinoa don't last too well in the refrigerator for more than about 3 days. So what I would do is let them cool completely, put them in the refrigerator, and then in about 2 days, if you don't think you're going to use them, put them in the freezer. And I have had them in the freezer for up to a month or
Oh wow.
longer. Yeah, I mean, if you have a really good deep freeze that you're not going in, or put them in the back to make sure they're not. But most freezers don't defrost things on a regular basis, so
Mhm.
I think they're pretty safe for up to a month or more. And then after that, I think they just get a little crystallized in
Yeah.
terms of texture. But and nuts, I keep mine, I mean, I go through them pretty fast, so they probably don't last a month, but I think they last several weeks. And you can always tell when you smell them, um,
Mhm.
and especially if you roast them. Roasting changes the composition of them. So, you're bringing out the oils and caramelizing them. So raw nuts, I think might last a little bit less, but you can always smell them and they might have a little bit of a rancid smell. So again, some people freeze their nuts. I like to roast mine and I go through them pretty quick. So I'd say a couple weeks to maybe a month. And seeds like these, like my chia seeds, I have chia seeds and hemp seeds.
Okay.
I put them in the refrigerator. So
Perfect. And then I have a question too that I feel like our moms would appreciate. So I know we talked a little bit about salads today, but when
yeah.
it comes to the winter, I always like warm, sweet things. So if
Mhm.
there's a recipe you can think of off the top of your head for SugarBee, that would be good for like, say, like a pie or something like that.
Ah.
I'm thinking sweets right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sweets. Yes, actually, and I love to bake, so I'm kind of a
Mhm.
bake person. But there is a lots of pie recipes on Chelan Fresh, but I think there is a first there's hand pies, which are
Oh,
like
okay.
southern. They're deep fried, but you can also bake them. And what I love about them is sometimes you don't want a whole pie sitting around, right? So you can make a whole bunch of little hand pies,
Hmm.
and you can put them in the freezer. And then you have a hand pie whenever you want it, but you don't have to commit to the whole pie all the time. So
Yeah.
there's that. And then there's lots of, I love putting apples, especially sugar beets, in cakes because I feel like
Okay.
they really add, like a coffee cake, but they really add a ton of moisture. And there's a lot of
Mm.
recipes on the website for that too, for different baked type of things. But I also really want to encourage people to, here's what they're looking, yeah, really try roasting these.
Mm-hmm.
because they hold their shape really well. They caramelize so nicely, or even sauteing them. And sometimes for breakfast, I saute them with a little bit of maple syrup and
Oh,
cinnamon, and I
yes.
put them over chia pudding. It's so good. Yeah, it's
Okay.
delicious. It's one of my favorite things to do in the morning. And then, of course, I just throw my roasted nuts on top, and
Oh,
you
that
have
sounds
breakfast.
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So there's so many things, but there is a recipe on the website as well for roasted sugar bee and Brussels sprouts.
I bet that's
Yeah.
delicious. All right. Well, I know what I'm going to be putting on my grocery list this week. I'm like going to watch this again and take notes.
Right, right. And there's another thing in the winter that apples store so well, and you just put them in your refrigerator in a bin, and they're there forever, and you can just pull them out and cook with them whenever you need, which is another thing I love about having them around,
Mhm.
because it's hard to find, especially in a small town like we're in, really fresh, good fruit in the winter. So
Yeah. All right. That's perfect then.
yeah,
So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I'm so excited to get cooking now. My stomach is like
awesome.
rumbling a little bit.
I know it's
um,
kind of a weird time.
yeah. So guys, make sure you head over to sugarbeeapples.com. You definitely want to check out the recipes Meg was talking about. I've seen some being linked in the comments as well. And
Mhm.
then Sugar Bee apples are available at a number of different retailers. So I have a short list, which is Walmart, Sprouts, Farmers Market, and Jewel Osco. So to find a store near you, make sure you head to the link right there, sugarbee.fruitlocator.com. Figure out where you can go buy your apples from.
Yeah.
So let us know what you found most interesting today, what your favorite recipes were, all that. Like, comment, share for your chance to win. And if you're interested, again, in trying SugarBee or learning more, finding those recipes, go to sugarbeeapple.com. Thank you, Meg, so much for joining us. This was
You're
so much fun.
welcome. Thank you. It's
Um,
always fun. Thanks so much.
yeah, of course. And I'm ready to go make some salads now. So
Good.
healthy 21, let's go.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.